Each year, the Ministry of Diaspora Affairs and Combating Antisemitism presents its prestigious Shield of Truth, an Israeli award for combating antisemitism, an honor bestowed upon individuals who have shown exceptional courage and integrity in fighting for truth and for standing up for the Jewish people and for the state of Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a huge honor to announce this year's recipient, Mrs. Erin Molan.
Yes. To present this important award, I'm pleased to invite the Minister for Diaspora Affairs and Combating Antisemitism, Minister Amichai Shikli. Erin Molan has shown extraordinary courage in revealing Israel's reality to the world, despite widespread misinformation and intense pressure. Let's take a look at her steadfast commitment to truth and her fearless stand against the delegitimization of Israel.
Even in Australia, where anti-Semitism is growing by the day, there are people who are beacons of truth and shine like a lighthouse on a stormy night. She's the daughter of an Australian military officer and attended 16 different schools across the world, developing a global perspective that would later define her courage. She built a 20-year career spanning television, radio, and print, becoming a trusted primetime host on Sky News Australia and columnist for the Daily Telegraph. When Hamas attacked Israel, while many media figures remained silent or blamed the victims, she chose the difficult path.
I know without any doubt in my mind who I'm rooting for. And it's not the terrorists who celebrate death, it's the country fighting desperately for life.
The world is already going in a very bad direction. If people like me don't speak up, then I worry deeply for what will happen to the world.
Erin Molan faced death threats, harassment, and ultimately lost her position at Sky News Australia, sacrificing her career at its peak rather than compromising her principles.
Do I worry for my safety and that of my 6-year-old daughter? Absolutely. Have we received countless death threats? Specific ones? Yes. I'm not Israeli. I'm not Jewish. It would be easier now for me not to speak. I give you the nod. And let's be real here. It might feel far, far away, but we all have skin in this game. It's a fight for everything that should matter and does. It's a fight for every child, for every human being who believes in life and freedom and hope. So you know what conclusion I come to every single time without fail? Every time I ask myself if I should continue speaking out and making life harder for my daughter and I, the answer is yes, every single time. Why? Well, for the very same reason I sometimes think I should stop entirely. For her, my daughter.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. We are honored to give this prize this year to Erin Molan. I want to share with you a very short lesson that I've heard from Professor Shalom Rosenberg, who passed away a year and a half ago. Professor Shalom Rosenberg said, "Pure goodness never appeared on the face of earth. Pure evil appeared in Auschwitz, Treblinka, and Majdanek. Pure evil chose the Jewish people as its ultimate enemy. As we know, when Hitler, in his will, in 1945, when he is surrounded by the Soviets and the Allies, he is asking the German nation to continue the fight, to continue the war. And you would imagine, continue the fight against the Soviets, continue the fight against the Allies. No, continue the fight against the Jewish people. Shalom Rosenberg said, Pure evil chose the Jewish people as its ultimate enemy, and therefore we, the Jews, needs to ask ourselves, how are we, the enemies of evil, as it says in our mekorot, in our sources, Ohavei Hashem Sinura. And I think that, Erin, you resemble the hatred of evil. Erin, you are an enemy of evil, and this is why we chose to give you this award this year, and we are proud of you, and we are proud of your courage to stand and say the truth, and we are all aware of what is happening in Australia this year and since October 7 with the tremendous anti-Semitism that we are seeing. We do not take it for granted. We cherish our friends, and we cherish your courage. Thank you, Erin. Toda. It says, we chose this ancient menorah. It says, a little bit of light repels a lot of darkness. A little bit of truth repels a lot of the lies. Thank you, Erin.
Shikli. Erin, it's so good to have you here. Please join me. There you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's so lovely.
Thank you so much.
And I'm assuming the 100 or so 18-year-olds are going to the pub. So I'm not offended that they left. At least they left
You just
before
want to
I
join
got
them.
up. Yeah, I am. I'm going straight after. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. And as the minister said, really for being such a ray of light in dark times. Erin is one news anchor and journalist to another. You know, we work in a field where every news story, every item needs to be checked again and again before aired. But unfortunately, we see, especially post-October 7th, that it's not really the case when it comes to Israel.
It's crazy, isn't it, in terms of all of the things that I thought when I was learning how to be a journalist, the things that mattered deeply, and even say if you're covering sport, which I did for 15 years, you still wouldn't risk getting it wrong because there would be consequences for that. But I now look at the media landscape and I am horrified by so many different things. Even what they choose to omit. So you might argue that, oh no, what we said was right. And an example of that is a network in Australia was covering the hostage exchange for prisoners. And the start of their story on the 6 p.m. news, which is the biggest news program in the country, was this emotional music with this man, a Palestinian prisoner, who was on the shoulders of another man. His mother was crying, and the reporter's narration was something to the effect of, a family reunion, decades in the making, and la, 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 and tears from mum. And, you know, he bombed a bus that killed children. That's completely omitted. So they could say, well, it's true, this is a family reunion, decades in the making, but they don't give you the context. And then you just have outright lies, and the BBC, we know, is, you know, leading the charge in that front. They are appalling in every way. It's crazy. I host an opinion show. Well, actually, I used to. Really good point. It's only been a few months. I hosted an opinion show, so everything I said, thank you so much. Everything I said was my opinion, and it was clearly labelled opinion. Now we have programs that purport to be straight news, in which they should just deliver facts, that are weaving their own narrative in, and it's not the way it should be. And it's not only appalling, but it's dangerous, and it costs more lives.
You know, I looked at this little scene here when you get this beautiful prize from our minister, and I was thinking to myself, oh my God, we live in such a twisted world when a journalist gets a prize for speaking the truth. Now, you deserve the prize. But you know what I mean? It's just so wrong in a way.
If you had told me 2 years ago, if you'd said, Erin, there's going to be a terrorist attack like there was on October 7, you are going to come out very publicly, staunchly in support of the victims of that terrorist attack, and you will stand vehemently against the terrorists who carried out those atrocities, and it will put you in the minority, it will be considered controversial, and you will be annihilated online for that. I would have said, you know what, I don't have much faith in the world at the best of times, but there is no chance in hell. And look, here we are. And you're right, all I do is tell the truth, and I might do it in a unique way, or I might have a particular way with words. I'm relatable, I'm quite emotional, but all I do is just state facts and tell the truth, and it's crazy that it should be considered special, and I'm ashamed that it's considered special. I should be one of millions.
You're saying, yeah, definitely. You're saying that now you're a minority, and unfortunately, we as Jews, we are accustomed to being minority. How does it feel for the first time?
It's a great question. I've never been part of a minority before in my life. You know what? It's something that I am immensely proud of, to be completely frank with you. I consider it such a privilege to stand with your country and to stand with your people. And I look back through history, and minorities or people that weren't part of a majority were not necessarily always wrong or on the wrong side. And I have zero doubt in my mind that I'm on the right side of this. So if I'm alone, so be it. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. I have to live with myself in my head more than I care what anyone else will think or say. So I mean that. It's a real privilege.
Bravo. You know, as I was looking at the video, as a mother, you were talking about your daughter. And I'm sure recent months weren't easy. At some point, maybe you even felt you might be in danger. And as a mother, to keep on doing what you do, knowing that, that's a real risk.
It is, and we've had many, and I like I'm sure so many of you here, it's not special, but many threats to my life and to hers. And I guess I've been in the public eye for 20 years, so I'm used to, you know, being sprayed online. But this is different in that this is the first time in my existence that I've experienced it from people that I might genuinely believe would actually fulfill the things that they promised to do. And we've had police involved, I've had protection, bomb threats, the whole thing. And there have been periods where I've had to give my little girl to her father, and you know, that's very difficult because I share her. I'm a single mum, I share her already. So I question myself constantly, and I reassess constantly as to whether or not I'm doing the right thing, because she is my number one job in the world, to keep her safe, and that hand on heart is the thing that matters to me more than anything else. But I guess I've got half a brain, so I realised that by doing what I'm doing now, I am helping to ensure the world that she will grow up in and live in will be far safer than the world that exists now, or will exist if people like me don't speak up. So it's, yeah, thank you. It's harder now, absolutely. I hate even complaining, because there are people 10 million times worse off, like you guys who live here, under constant threat. But I feel like it's a short-term pain for hopefully an incredible existence for her down the track, and for every other child.
Amen. How's your Hebrew?
Non-existent. Non-existent.
Okay, we've got time. You have a tutor here if you need.
Oh, bless. Thank you.
Thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you for standing up despite the hate and sharing your brave and clear voice with the world. You know, Golda Meir once said, when our enemy will love their children more than they hate us, we can begin to talk about peace. We know the biggest problem is not tunnels, but education. So we pray for love, the love for their children, so that we can fulfill the promise we made to our children. Thank you so much, Erin.
Thank you so much. It means the world. Thank you.
Gorgeous.